Hello and welcome to FTB Sports. This is the post-match reaction show for the game Spurs versus Chelsea. And the score, Spurs 0, Chelsea 1. I'm joined by my guests. I think they didn't really want to be my guests tonight, but Darius, Mike, how are we doing? I always say that question. How are we doing? I know how you're doing. Where do we go from here? Where does the team go from here? Chelsea looked like, I don't know, they were levels above us in that first half. Although they didn't have Lloris working too much, we literally had 5 players just, I don't know, there was just players all over the place just doing stuff I just can't imagine. Whatever Dyer did there is unforgivable, but there's so much. There's so much to kind of talk about. The wrongness in this team at the moment, the wrongness, the decisions, the players. When the team sheet was announced, I was kind of, well, that's okay. Sissoko for me is filling places that he's taking up space now. He's just taking up space. He needs to not take up any space on the pitch and just be moved on elsewhere, preferably at the club.
Oh dear.
It's getting embarrassing from that perspective. Where does the team go from here? I'm going to ask you guys. Let's go into the comments. There'll be comments in there, but yeah, Mike, do you want to start?
Cheers, mate. Where do we go from here? Do you know what? I don't even know. I don't even know where to begin. That's the problem. I think first things first. When you look at that back line, the only question I've got is why was Rodon dropped? I know no one played well against Brighton, but he didn't make any mistakes. He didn't make the mistakes that he made against Liverpool where it cost us a goal. So I don't get why. And Dyer, I mean, every game he's played in, some mistake he's made has led to a goal. And again, you look at tonight, he made a tackle, he won the ball, and then he does what he did by kicking. It's just a stupid foul to give away. Like you mentioned before we come online, Ndombele didn't look interested.
Which is worrying signs for me, because I watched him throughout that whole of that first half, and he pretty much was like, he got a tap on his ankle early doors. Yeah. And then it was like that tap on his ankle. And I know, you get stamps on your feet. You can run them off. You should have had someone come on and do the magic spray on him. But he just looked like, I don't know if I fancy this tonight. And Chelsea, what Chelsea did well, and this is what I'm saying about the tactical elements from Jose tonight, is what Chelsea did was they played a 3-4-3. They had the 2 wing backs really high up the pitch. But what they did to control the midfield, because if you play a 3-4-3, you usually think that you're only going to have 2 in midfield to try and control the game if you play 3 up top. What Chelsea did, which was, I spotted it from like minute 1, is they just had a fluid front 3 that kept dropping into midfield. So there was no centre forward. There wasn't even the wide players. The width came from their wing backs. And then they had the 3 forward players, Werner, Mount, and Hudson-Odoi, just dropping into midfield. So they had basically a 3-5-2, and the 5 were just central midfielders, and the 2 were the wide fullbacks. So we were dominated in midfield from minute 1, and they just kept rotating it, and they weren't overly penetrative, but they just kept the ball, kept possession, and kept putting us under pressure, kept winning the ball back in midfield. And to me, that's a tactical element of the game, which I'm expecting Jose to sort that out. I really want that to be something he sees and changes with the person that's on the pitch. The other thing that was just annoying me so much is that both Højbjerg and Sissoko kept dropping back into that back line. And it's then we had 4 centre-backs at one point as well. That's unforgivable. Unforgivable in terms of a tactical approach. Like I said, Sissoko to me is not a good enough player to play. He doesn't think forward. He just is an accident waiting to happen at times. Darius, I know you was very critical of the team in terms of the preview show. You kind of foresaw this coming in terms of the 2 performances we had previous to this. This third performance, coupled with the other 2, What do you think? Where does the team go from here?
I hope this is a lesson for every person who thinks that Mourinho is going to change any sort of approach to how we just approach games in general. I mean, I've got absolutely no words for what I've just seen in those 90 minutes. I can't forgive anything that Mourinho has done to set out that team. I think Vinicius is going to get scapegoated by the media, by our fans now, because he had that one chance in the final 5 minutes of the game. We're going to all see that, think he's missed that chance. And really and truly, before that I think that was our fourth or third shot at goal, not even on target, at goal the whole game. When I looked at the stats before that shot was taken, there was two shots taken, 2 shots on target. That's unforgivable. That's no player's fault. I don't care how bad a player is playing. Sissoko had one of the worst games I've seen him play in the Spurs shirt. I don't care. I genuinely don't care. I think in these sort of games and performances, I solely put the blame on Mourinho, and I genuinely don't even want to watch Tottenham play. West Brom, I don't want to watch Tottenham play. Man City, I don't want to watch Tottenham play. And I think back to what I was saying in previews and post-match reactions about how I just want a trophy. A trophy is all I really need. But I think to myself, really and truly, like I'm watching football to enjoy football, and we haven't won a trophy in 13 years. What's the difference if we don't win a trophy? I'd rather enjoy watching football, to be brutally honest. I know I can take the stick if we win a trophy and Mourinho stays next year. Now after that performance, I don't actually want to see another year of it. I'd rather we not win a trophy and bring somebody in who's going to at least rekindle my love for watching Tottenham. I mean, at the start of the season it was cool, but if we play like that without Kane, where's the hope for any game going on in the future? Sorry to be a bummer, but where is the hope for any game in the future if we play like that without Kane?
So this is the issue with the way that Jose has set his stall out, is that, and I think you've mentioned it before, it's a very much a double-edged sword. If you play like that, and this was my mantra all the way through having Jose on board, is that you can play that style of football. If you get the results, you can to some degree forgive it. Like I said, if that style of football gets you results and it was to win us a trophy, let's say in April, playing that way, and you win the game 1-0 because you played dirty, no one's going to really complain. We can't play like that all the way up till April. That is a fact. There is no way on earth that we can have that sort of football and get them results. Now, as I said, you've already mentioned that you don't expect Jose to change his way of playing, but something has to change. There's as much blame on him as there are individuals in this team. As I said, as Mike was saying, Dyer, it's unforgivable what he did in the box. I would have a go at my under 10s if I had under 10s and I was coaching, because there was no way he was going to get the ball. There was no way on earth.
You knew what Werner was going to do. Anybody knew what Werner was going to do.
100%.
Like you're a professional footballer trying to swipe at a ball in your box on the floor while you're on the floor. I say that and I can't believe I'm saying that, because it's just unforgivable. Stuff like that is unforgivable. I understand that.
At that level, definitely.
Yeah, it's unforgivable. But I kind of, and I don't know if this is just me with an agenda now, but those sort of mistakes and that sort of performance and the way that Dyer, I don't know if that comes from nerves and just having to defend constantly and just being scared and making rash. I don't know where that comes from, but I just couldn't believe what I saw. I couldn't believe he did that.
I will give you the stats of the game, because we usually use the stats a little bit later on, but it's just interesting to go through some of the stats now. And I'll obviously do Tottenham first as being the home team. So possession-wise, 42% to 58%. Shots, total shots, this is 7 for Spurs, 18 Chelsea. On target, this is the interesting fact, 2 on target for us, 2 on target for them. Corners 2 to 7, and fouls 20 to 14. So as the game kind of says, the possession, and I think a lot of the second half possession, probably the stats went down for Chelsea. Although they had control of the game, Lloris didn't have to do that much. It's not like he was being peppered, and I understand.
Yeah,
it's not like he was being peppered, but it was the lack of urgency. I wrote down 4 things. No, I wrote down 6 things actually. No aggression, no fluidity, no forward thinking, no ideas, no plan, no desire, and that was just in the first half. Do you know what I mean? We didn't.
Our pressing was shocking. We didn't. That first half, we did not press at all.
There was no press, and then even in the second half, the press was so unorganized.
It was like a training match.
Yeah, it was so unorganized.
it was appalling. Yeah, like you say though, the weird thing is, had Dyer not made that mistake, it probably would have been a 0-0. And the I suppose the reflection on the game might be slightly different. Although, okay, it still wouldn't be great, but we would have walked away with a point. This is where, like, these mistakes that certain individuals are making, you just can't keep making them, because we're just going to find ourselves going further down the table.
But then, sorry, but I asked that question. Do you? But I've got to say, every single player is going to make a mistake, and I know players are making a mistake constantly. But what a manager can do to kind of alleviate that pressure is set out his team to kind of let them rectify those mistakes by giving them chances to score goals. If you're putting your team in a position where you're giving them 5 chances a game to create an opportunity to kind of rectify the mistakes they've made, and they don't capitalize on that opportunity, then it's going to look so much worse than if we had, like, for example, Tuchel's Chelsea had, which was 18 shots on goal, and they kind of did look like they were trying to attack the whole game. At least if they didn't get 3 points, or even if they didn't win the game, Chelsea fans would be able to say, you know what? At least you tried to do something. Do you know what I mean? There was nothing to say that we even wanted to try and get a goal back. I'm sorry.
But the thing is, if you look at our lineup, who would you have turned to looking for a goal? Apart from the likes of, Vinicius and Son. And, I mean, Bergwijn hasn't scored for quite some time. But we're missing too many attacking players. Like Reggie on the left-hand side. I mean, there's Dele Alli, Lo Celso, Harry Kane. I mean, they're big players for us to be missing in terms of giving any sort of attacking intent.
This is why, Mike, I expect the manager to sort the team out in terms of a system to accommodate the players that he has. What he's now doing is putting faith into players that are just not playing well enough. He's putting faith into Dyer, who made the mistakes at Liverpool, was dropped for the Brighton game, but puts him right back in the team in place of probably our best defender in those games, which to me, it can't be right tactically. Let's just get into some of these comments, because there's quite a few of them come through. We'll get back into some more, I guess, dissection of this game. So one of the questions here from Robert Story. Good evening, Robert. Why didn't Jose bring on Bale? Well,
good question.
It's a good question. But when I saw Bale warming up, he looked like he was just warming up because he had to warm up. And then he sat back down. And when he knew he wasn't coming on, I saw his face. He almost had a bit of a smile on his face. He's like, "Oof, good half. I missed that one there." It didn't look like he wanted to come in. He wasn't bothered. And this is what I'm saying. If he's not bothered about coming on and performing, is it that Zinedine Zidane has seen this? When you're on 650k a week, and I'm not going to keep going on about this for Bale, because Bale didn't even play. But if you're on that sort of money, are you really that bothered? Particularly when you're on loan. I know he said he loves Spurs and all the rest of it. He's done everything in the game. I think we kind of got a little bit blinded to the fact that we maybe thought that Gareth Bale was going to come and do something for us, like how he's done at Real Madrid and like when he left Spurs. But it's not going to be the same. But even then, you would still expect to see some cameo appearances from him. Mike,
can you say, though, he's had a fair crack at the first team? I mean, a fair run of games. Like, one game he might be in for 45, then he gets dropped for the next game, then he comes on the following game lap for 10 minutes. There's just no consistency. At least give the bloke a chance. Like, give him a run of 5 games, give him like 60 minutes, 70 minutes, however long he can sort of last. And if he's not up to the scratch, then we all know that Bale's done. Biff him off. But give him. I mean, it's easy for us to say that. I mean, he's earning 650 grand a week. Is he actually interested? Is he bothered? I mean, it's easy for us to, I suppose, assume that he's probably not, because he's giving off signals and vibes off the bench. But at least I think Mourinho should just give him a chance, give him a run of games and see if I mean, we'll find out if he is. I mean, he can't do anything worse than what Bergwijn's doing. So give him a go and just see. At least we'll know after a handful of games, like consecutive games, whether he's up to scratch. Because, I mean, I just don't feel he's had a fair crack at the whip. But
do you think? Yeah, you may be right. What's your thoughts on the Bale situation? Because, like I said, we can't really go on the Bale thing because he didn't play tonight. I'm just going on the fact what I saw. His attitude towards it. We can't blame him for that defeat tonight. That the defeat solely, again, the manager is accountable for that. And he didn't help himself. Now, what I was kind of glad with is he didn't change the team at halftime. He kept the players on, maybe give them a chance. But again, with the substitutions, and knowing Ndombele wasn't playing his best game in that we've seen him play. But he's our most creative player that we had on that pitch at that time. Lamela came on and did a little bit. But Sissoko, you're trying to chase a game and you keep Sissoko on for 90 minutes and he cannot play football anymore.
He was so bad today. He was really bad today.
Why is Mourinho not just take him off, leave Højbjerg as like that defensive midfielder and just stick another striker on up front, even push Son up front next to Vinicius and put another player on that left wing.
What he could have done, Mike? He could have kept those two. He could have made those two substitutions. He could have took off Sissoko, dropped Ndombele into a double pivot with Højbjerg and put Lamela in the 10 and Lucas out wide for Bergwijn. And that's exactly what I thought was going to happen when I heard that the two were coming on. I think, Sissoko's going to come off and Ndombele drop into the double. Leave a little bit of, maybe leave Højbjerg a little bit exposed, but that's what we need to do when we're chasing the game.
Because what we've got to lose, if you're 1-0 down, if you concede another goal, well,
who cares?
That happens. But
it's
chasing. You've got nothing to lose, have you? You might as well just. The worst that's going to happen is you concede another goal. That's the worst that can happen.
Let's get into some more of these comments because there's quite a few stacking up, so I'm going to go through them. So we've got Marlon Bashment here. Shocking and dire, no confident at all. Again, Roberts. Chelsea played amazing first half. I wouldn't say amazing, but
I actually would. I think that they played bad in the second half. I don't think they played well. I think they played really well in the first. I think I know that we were bad.
This is amazing.
Okay, not amazing, but they played really well because they
played decent.
They knew how to combat us.
We made them look good. We made them look good.
The formation, what they did up front, if you can see that on the TV, I saw that in the first minute. I said, what? They're not playing with a number 9. Werner's dropping in. Oh, Mount's coming in from that right-hand side or left-hand side. Oh, what about Hudson-Odoi? So you could see what they were doing. So they had 5 in midfield. This is not rocket science to watch.
Brighton did the same thing against us. Exactly the same thing. In fact, you could probably argue that Liverpool almost did something similar as well. They just swamped the midfield, and we can't cope with that. I mean, Mourinho's just got to either match it up so that there's the same number of players in midfield, so we're not swamped, or he's got to come up with something a better idea. But he can't keep doing this.
Højbjerg is always going to be that defensive one. I get that. So he's the one. I don't mind to see him drop in that centre back area. But when you got him and Sissoko doing it, who doesn't play forward passes anyway. So if you're chasing a game, and you haven't got a midfielder that's going to think forward, apart from Ndombele, who's playing higher up the pitch. He just kind of thought, well, I'm not. The gap between him and Højbjerg and Sissoko at times was enormous. And all Chelsea did was fill that space between the two. You know, between them two lines, they filled that space. So even if we try to play that ball through to him, somebody cuts it out and it gets stopped. So sorry for cutting you guys off in that. I'm just going to read the keep on reading. So Robert said, Chelsea played amazing. First half was worried in the second half. Spurs looked more with it. Spurs, they tried a little bit harder. Another comment here from Robert. Sack Jose. Well, I don't think that's going to happen.
Not now.
I think Levy's already said, well, not said publicly, but I think his appreciation for Jose over the years means that he wouldn't even think about doing that. There's going to be fans who are calling. I know fans who have been calling for Jose for a long time. The manager is responsible for that tonight. And he's not looking like he's making the tactical changes. He's now going to say, oh, well, I don't have the tools. You can see why, when Harry Kane, he's irreplaceable. Yeah, Harry Kane might be irreplaceable. But if you're going to play Vinicius and then you don't have somebody who's at least one person who's going to be able to provide him with any sort of service from the width or from the midfield area, he's just going to be up top. He's just going to be a front man. And he's going to get balls thrown up to him, and some of them might stick, some of them don't. But we're not seeing enough players around him that's going to bring him into the games. So I'm going to go through a few more comments here. Adam Morris, you guys should get Poch. Very good. Robert Story again. Werner still unable to score for Chelsea. I don't really care about him.
He was not. I'm beginning to lose a bit of. I'm a Werner fan, but I mean, he wasn't very good today at all. And it makes it even worse because I think not many Chelsea players were amazing, like you said, but again, we weren't good.
We made it easy for them.
Yeah.
It's just painful.
Arsenal
I'd rather
Misra
us lose
says,
5-0 and play well, or have a battle at least, than lose 1-0 and just it was just a training match, wasn't it? Essentially, we were just there in presence, but our minds were elsewhere today.
another comment here, Arsenal Misra. It's Harry Kane Hotspur. This Harry Kane is a one-man band thing to say that everything is Harry Kane. Now, we've had situation where Harry Kane has been out before for periods of time. And although we lack certain dynamics when he's not playing, I get that. He's had the most goals and assists as a combination that I've ever seen him have so far this season. But, and I will put the but in here, this is why we brought in another player. But the other player that's brought in, which is Vinicius, isn't playing in the same way as Harry Kane. So how do you compensate? He looked like he was going to play more of a target man. He's not going to keep dropping into that 10. So if he's going to be a target man, you don't need him to drop into 10. It tells me that maybe you should play a different system. Instead of the 4-2-3-1, why not play a 4-1-2-3? Get someone a little bit higher up.
Yeah.
Now, if Sissoko had any ability about him at all, he could probably do a bit of both in the 8 position and try and do box to box, but he's just not good enough. Robert Story again, Jose should have brought Bale on for the last 15 minutes, could have made a difference for Spurs. NG23, I've been on teams where I don't mind having a niggling injury. This is one of those teams. Don't know what that comment's really meaning.
I think he's basically saying with the Ndombele thing is like once he gets injured, he's not or Bale, he's not really fussed about getting stuck in and really getting involved in the team. I can kind of see where he's coming from, but again, it's just one of those things where I don't mind us not playing the way that we should be playing as long as there's some sort of intent. There's zero intent. Intent, like we've said. I think that's the main issue. You can play sort of a style that Jose wants to play and have intent because we've countered electrically in the way that we play. We've done that well, and that shows intent to me. If we counter well and play defensive, I'm fine with that. It's the fact that we're not countering and we're not showing anything on the pitch anywhere. So that's what I mean.
Did you think anybody did anything today to warrant? I don't say warrant being a team because we have to have players in the team, obviously. But did anybody actually show any real desire? This is because remember, this is Chelsea. This is a London derby. Chelsea, one of our fiercest rivals, along with Arsenal and West Ham. This is one of our fiercest rivals. And to me today, it looked like we just said, as someone mentioned earlier, it looked like a training game. At times, it looked so much like a training game when they were passing the ball around us. Like I said, it was like a training game where you say you don't have to shoot on target, but you know, it was ridiculous what I saw from Chelsea just playing the ball around us and being able to play around us. But again, there was tactical elements of that could have been looked at and changed. Do you think anybody did anything? Mike, I'll ask you that question first.
I think the only person that looked lively and showed any sort of desire that he wanted to actually play a game and try and create and try and, I suppose, get Spurs back into the game was when Lamela came on. He looked the liveliest out of everyone. He was the one that was sort of wanting the ball. He was the one that was trying to sort of drive the team forward and try and create and make something happen. Moore is always lively, but I don't think he had the same desire. Lamela looked like he wanted to play and looked like he wanted to get Tottenham back into the game. Son, yeah, he had his moments.
It's hard, but I'm going to go through all comments. We'll come back again in a minute. Arslan Misra, whoa, 650k a week. That's more than Messi. Well, if that's true, then he's just there for the pay packet. And I don't know how much Messi's on. Messi's on more money than I would imagine.
A week. He's on 1.2 million euros a week. He's not on. Yeah,
I don't think Messi wouldn't sniff at 650 grand a week though, and I certainly wouldn't sniff at that. Zacchaeus Forbes, good show, guys. As a United fan, I sympathise with Jose's tactics. What has happened to young talent? Troy Parrott, he is decent. Well, Troy Parrott, he's out on loan. He's now gone to.
He's been injured as well, hasn't he?
Yeah, but they're trying to get him. They're trying to get him used to the physicality. I think what they've seen it at Spurs with him is the physicality side of things was kind of putting him off. You know, really progressing enough to be in the first team for us. But if he can get game time where he's at Ipswich and get used to that physical aspect of the game. He's someone that could come in, but he's 18.
He's only 18, yeah.
He's 18. I know there's youngsters that are...
We can't put that sort of pressure on an 18-year-old. He'll just crumble.
I
and would you want to sort of throw him into the Lions' den and
not in a Jose system? No way.
But going back to some of the points in the game today, I looked at Eric Dyer. Obviously, we talked about Eric Dyer, but Alderweireld as well. Again, this is a guy who Belgium international. We had him. I would say at one point we had the best back lineup
in the league
for a long time. In him and Vertonghen,
easily.
The centre backs, they were fabulous. Danny Rose, we had him there as well. Kyle Walker. There was a point where we was thinking this defensive lineup is a championship winning defense. We obviously had the seasons where we were really, really good under Poch and the season unbeaten and all the rest of it. I remember watching the documentary with Alderweireld, and he was umming and ahhing about signing. And then when he actually finally signed, it was like he was like, oh yeah, well, it's going to be my last big contract anyway. So where else was I going to go? It's that sort of attitude. Now I looked at that documentary and thought, didn't sound great to me, but kind of brushed over it. Some of his performances, though, are now beginning to show me that these players are what is the desire for them. And you come back to your point, Darius. Yeah, it's great playing good football. Now a lot of these players have played really good football and not had any success. I think now they want success, but they can't play like this and get the success. So now they're thinking, we play well, we don't win. We play defensive, win some games, but now we're not winning. What's left?
Well, the season's not done yet, so that's one thing. But it's again, that plays into the part. It plays into the point that's kind of concerning. If the season's not done and they're already kind of seeming like they're throwing in the towel, it's not very good. At least if you're gonna play like Poch did, you play to the end. But I mean, we're in a final. I'm telling you now that final against City is gonna have massive ramifications on everything.
But that's so far away. The problem with that final is it's so far away. We could go through a lot. We need, obviously, there has to be a change. There has to be a change between
not going to be
now. No, what I mean by change is obviously the results have to change, but something fundamentally has to change. Now, if we get certain players back, right, I think that you're right. The mentality, there is something in these players that doesn't allow them to almost believe in themselves. I think Jose is kind of drilled into these players. This is how I want you to play. This is how I want you to play. This is how I want you to play. And they've played like that. In the early part of the season, we've got results. Great. This is how I want you to play. This is how I want you to play. And now some of the results haven't gone away. So they're kind of like, well, what do you want us to do now, boss? There don't seem to be anybody kind of saying, I'm going to take this game by the scruff of its neck. I'm going to do this. I don't care what the man, to a point. Now, obviously, you don't want to go against everything the manager said. But when certain things are on the pitch happening in terms of what I saw with Sissoko and Højbjerg, I want Højbjerg as a leader to say, Sissoko, you push up. I'm going to stay here. Push forward with Ndombele.
Jose told Sissoko to do that. He's not going to do that.
And also, you don't want Sissoko pushing forward. I mean, the guy just. I reckon we've all got better passing ability than Sissoko. I mean, I reckon we could all put a ball in the box better than Sissoko. I would be like, you know what, Sissoko, you just sit there on the centre circle. If the ball comes over, tackle, break up play, keep it simple. Don't push forward because I don't want you anywhere near the opposition's 18-yard box. And just be a presence.
The problem, Mike, is he can't even tackle and he can't even play a simple pass. So if you can't do those two things, you can't tackle and you can't play a simple pass, why are you on the pitch? Do one. He's got to do one. And he stayed on for the whole game. This is what I'm saying. He stayed on the whole game. And Ndombele, who wasn't playing well, I get that. I get all of that. Where you're not playing well and you're wanting somebody who's... But you take off your most creative player to keep on somebody who's just not doing it. I'll go through a couple more comments here. Marlon said, yeah, Harry Kane isn't Spurs. We have played without him and done well, which is very true. Arslan Mizra again, I think it's very pragmatic team performances past couple of games, like Jose's saying, play your normal game, just don't get beat. Right. I don't know what to make of that comment. I'm not having to go at the comment itself, but if Jose told the players go out and try and win this game, or just, there'll be a different way of playing. That didn't seem the way that they played in that first half. Certainly,
there's no way Mourinho's telling the lads just don't get beat. Whatever happens, just don't get beat. There's no manager in that professional game at that level that's going to turn around and say to his team, all I want you to do is go out there and not get beat. That's not happening. Regardless of
do our performances, like, I look at the performances and I think maybe he is actually saying that. Yeah. That's the thing that scares me. Like, I look at the performances and I think maybe he is saying, yeah, don't take too many risks, guys. We don't want to lose. We don't want to lose this game. And if he changes his ways and tries to, like I said, I don't 2 shots in the whole game to 7 shots in the last 5 minutes. That's unforgivable. You can't leave it to the last 5 minutes to think, shit, we've got a score now. That makes everything else in the game even worse. I'd rather you just say, you know what, we've lost the game. Let's just defend for the last 5 minutes. Don't even go for it. Don't do that, because that annoys me.
Thing is that in the last, when Lamela and Luke and Moura came on, if we kept up that sort of and showed that sort of, I suppose, more press, and there's a little bit more, shit, let's get ourselves out of this situation. If they did that for 90 minutes, this game could have been, and even the Brighton game could have been completely different results.
It's infuriating. It's
infuriating. The other thing to add is
they're capable of doing it.
Yeah, exactly. If you're winning the game, and I could maybe understand that to a degree. Don't get beat now, lads. You're 1-0 up. We've got to at least make sure we don't we don't lose this game, blah, blah, blah. All that I can understand. And that's probably a lot of Jose's kind of ways of thinking. When you're losing, that can't be the message. It can't be, let's not get beat, because you're losing. Absolutely, so you have to then go for the game. I didn't see them go for it at any point, apart from, as we've just talked about, the last 10 to 15 minutes. Now, they played better second half, but you couldn't play any worse. We haven't played consistently well for a period of 90 minutes. I can't tell you when the last time we did that. And the last 3 games, including this game today, we have looked like a relegation team. And that's not even going to sugarcoat anything. We have looked in real trouble. And the thing I'm looking at now is, okay, you got West Brom on the weekend, you got Everton then in the FA Cup, and then you've got Man City. Effectively, we can't afford another loss. You can't afford a draw. So West Brom's got to be a win. But then you've got the FA Cup game coming up, which then, if things don't go according to plan in that, it could be a very, very...
The league could be bad. I mean, Crystal Palace are 13th on 29 points, and we're only on 33. Like I said, the league this season, I think, unless it starts to, like even out and teams start to kind of solidify where they're going to finish, it could look ugly if we don't sort it out quite soon, because I'm looking at the teams around us now in the league table. Villa still look okay when they lose. Arsenal still looked okay. Obviously, they had the 9 men. Leeds, and Southampton are not doing great, but the teams above us don't look like they're getting worse. We're the only team around there that looks like we're getting significantly worse. And if this continues, we could find ourselves quite low in that table, and we'll be resting all of our season on these finals. And we're only in one final at the moment, and it's against Manchester City. And it's that's the point I'm trying to make. It's we haven't won anything yet, and we can't pretend like we have. We haven't won anything yet.
I'm on record as saying that I would accept, and this is the words I'm going to choose these words carefully, I would accept being 15th and winning the League Cup. Now, the reason I say that, and the reason I've always said that, is because of the mentality in terms of winning something. What I can't accept now is the level of desire. The level of desire is not at a level that I want to see as a Spurs fan. These players continue. I can take performances. I can take, pragmatic approaches to game. Yes, it's a bit of a double-edged sword. We're getting the results. I can understand that. I can, to a point, it hurts. But as I said to you, I could accept it if at the end of it we get the trophy. Now, this trophy at the end of it being in the final of the League Cup, because it's April, we're in February now. That's a way away. We've got a couple of months to go before we even get there. And if the performances were to continue like this, which is why I'm saying these can't continue like this, we could be anywhere.
Yeah.
Really
I've got a
do.
question for you. Looking back now, getting rid of Vertonghen, do you reckon that was the right move?
I don't. I think Vertonghen would have been a worse version of Alderweireld. I think Alderweireld
Reckon?
again. Alderweireld was signing this contract. I don't know what to think, because when he signed the contract, I looked at it and I thought, you're not the starting centre back anymore. I thought that Spurs would go out and buy a centre back and kind of, I don't know. I thought Dyer might have come in and been there. I didn't think Alderweireld was going to sign that contract and stay the main centre back. I thought we were going to kind of invest and he was going to become that very, very reliable third choice or cup centre back. I don't know.
With Vertonghen's experience, though, I think it might have played in our favour. I mean, if we had him now, you could probably say, Dyer, see you later. Take a month off, get your head sorted out, so you stop making mistakes and costing us goals. And we'll have Vertonghen, Toby, and Rodon as our sort of main centre backs and sort of switch. I know it's hypothetical, but I mean, you look at you look at Davis. I mean, he's not he's got no attacking intent in him whatsoever. So he almost acts like our third centre back, which
I know Mourinho loves him.
Which and I know that gives, I suppose, Aurier a kind of license to push a bit further forward. And I mean that free kick, that cross he put in for Vinicius. I mean that was a beautiful cross. And I mean, you see Moura. I think Lucas Moura was up behind him. I reckon he would have probably scored that if it went on Lucas Moura's head. But any quality striker is putting that in the back of the net, I think.
You asked a question about Vertonghen, Mike, and there was a comment here, and I probably glossed over it a bit too quickly. Aldo's nothing without Vertonghen. Vertonghen and Alderweireld, unless I'm wrong, aren't they still the centre-back pairing for Belgium? Don't they?
Along with
so, yeah.
Who's the other one? There's another one. Is it Aki?
No, Ake's Dutch. I can't remember who else plays.
Oh, yeah, he's Dutch, isn't he?
Oh, Jason Denayer, I think. I don't know, but they are still involved in the centre back. Yeah, they are still involved in the national team.
I know that sometimes Vertonghen drifts out to left back to fit some of the players in, but he's still playing at international level, as is Alderweireld. And Belgium are a decent outfit, so you know in world football they're decent. So I don't know. I don't know with that. It must be something. I just don't think there's enough confidence between the combinations of those players. We've already seen what happens when Sanchez is in the back line with certain players. It makes the other players look bad. It now appears that people in the same back line as Dyer is making the other person look bad. Rodon has probably thought, wow, I was better at the championship level than this, because some of the mistakes are criminal. They are criminal.
When Dyer's closing down before he gives that free kick or that penalty away, why is no one shouting at him? Just stand him up. Just don't make a challenge. Just stand there, because he's got to beat you in order to get the ball in the back of the net. So if you stand there, don't make it like a silly tackle or silly mistake or silly sliding tackle, whatever. Just stand him. Make yourself difficult to sort of get around, but communication as well is probably an issue.
So I'm going to go for a few more comments here. Misra again, trust me, boys, this is a washed up Jose. Anything is possible for his reputation. Another comment here. Honest opinion, boys, if you don't finish in the between 8th and 12th and don't win if you do, or you don't know, it says you don't finish in 8 to 12 and don't win a League Cup, would you blame Harry Kane if he asks for a move in the summer, say Man City or United, because of the Aguero injuries? And I was talking to Darius about this earlier. I was saying that if we don't win anything this season and we keep playing like this, I could see Harry Kane thinking to himself, you know what, doesn't matter what happens here, it's not going to work. We've got the best or so-called best manager in world football in terms of, you know, trophy haul.
Based on name.
Based on name. We've had 5 years of Poch. We've had great football. We've done this. What is it I can do? I come out of the team, it seems like everything crumbles. Even when he was in the team, there was not the the most exciting brand of football. Yeah, there was some results going our way, but a lot of it was down to him and Son. Would you blame him? Would you blame him for wanting to leave in the summer if that was the case?
Levi will never sell to a rival club. Harry Kane to go to Man United, Man City.
It would be
Never.
horrible, but I wouldn't blame him, but it won't happen just solely because of the market and his contract length. Again, I wouldn't blame him.
Go is Spain, or overseas at least. I can't. Levi would never sell to an English club.
What scares me is I actually can see him going to an English. What I think he's going to do is run down his contract. I think, when does it finish? 2024. So we've got 3 years left. 3.5 years. I think
it might be longer than that, or they're trying to do. I think they're on the negotiations now. So both Son and Kane are under negotiations. Nothing's been signed as an extension. Son hasn't signed anything yet, but there's before all these sort of results were happening, everybody was like, "Boy, no, it's only a matter of time." If he was Son now, would you be concerning yourself that this might not be for you? Would you maybe hold fire on signing?
Because they sign they've got long contracts. They're here for contractually for 3 or 4 years. So that's why I'm not scared. But
I would say that, but you don't want unhappy players.
You know what I mean? Like, that's the only reason I'm not scared. I couldn't say to myself, yeah, Son is 100% going to stay at Spurs, because unless there was a change in the way that we played football as a football player, an attacking football player, I would not put up with this. I just wouldn't want to play like this. I genuinely wouldn't. I'm not gaining anything from it. We're not winning anything, so it's not like we're benefiting from it trophy wise.
Thing is though, if you let them run down their contracts, by the time their contracts are ending, I mean, Kane will be what, 30? Son will be 30, 31. At that point, I'd be like, if they did want to push for a move, I'd be like, you know what, I might be tempted to flog you.
Yeah.
I couldn't see any of those players wanting to do that. The club wouldn't allow that to happen anyway, so they have to be sold before that. But what I'm saying is, you'd have unhappy players. Once you start getting unhappy players, now look what's happened with Dele Alli. You know, that's a prime example of a prize asset that we have in the club that's unhappy, and Jose's done Jose. He can't afford to do that with any other. Well, he's probably done it with a couple of other players in the squad at the moment, but he can't afford to do that with like Harry Kane and Son. Then we would literally have an implosion. I'll go for a few more of these comments again. The moment things start going against Jose, watch him turn on his players and get a new contract with a CL finish and then leave midway for a fat payout. Jose.
Normally in his third season, though, isn't it?
Yeah, but usually this is the point when I was like saying, yeah, Jose, is because although he's done that, he's won. He's brought in trophies.
There's no reason to keep Jose if we don't win anything. Genuinely.
Oh yeah, 100%.
And even if we win something, if it comes to the third season and we're by Christmas and he's pulling out all these sort of typical tactics that he does, like with Man United, whatnot, get rid of him. I'll be happy to see him go December if he's won us silverware. I'll be like, yeah, you know what? Thanks for what you've won us. Goodbye.
So true.
Comment here from Raheem Sheikh. Good show, by the way, earlier, Raheem. Jose has stated that lots of players are missing. Do you buy that excuse? And he's gone on to finish.
To a certain extent.
Is that what he said in his press conference?
This is what the press conference said. He even had the ball to mention Dele Alli. Wheels coming off. The rails spring to mind. Jose is again doing what Jose does. You know, everything around him is the problem, not him. He doesn't see himself as the architect of this, and I think he is. And I couple that with the players' performances. Now, if you're giving the players a good enough platform, and Harry Redknapp, again, everybody goes to Harry Redknapp and think, oh, you got no tactics, you got none of this. He doesn't really have a lot of tactics, but what he does well is he allows the players to express themselves. That's the expression that we're all getting, people saying, allows the players to express themselves, goes out and tells them, go on, lads, go and do what you want, but puts the players on the pitch who can do that. Harry Redknapp didn't just put defensive players on and told them, go out and do that, because they couldn't. He puts players on that have the ability to be able to do that.
Do you think it's also a case, like some of the issues, is the fact that this isn't quite a Mourinho team. It's still a Pochettino team, isn't it? I mean, you look at the vast majority of that squad.
I don't want a Mourinho team in Tottenham, though. That's the thing. So,
do you think there's some players that pass their sell-by date at Spurs? And who 100%. Would they be? Who would they be?
Lucas.
I see.
I'd even say Lloris is getting on. Alderweireld. There's so many players, but
the
we're not
thing
going to
is,
be able to
though,
get rid of them.
the thing is with that is like you'd keep Lucas Moura for a squad player. I think he's decent for a squad player to have. Same as, I mean, I can't think of anyone. Davis is another one. As a squad player, I think he's decent to have because we can't have 25 world-class players because the balance isn't there. So we need a balance as to like a couple of world-class players, a few very good players, even to the point of our subs bench are decent, good substitutes to have that can affect or change a game, whether it's defensively or whether it's from an attacking point. But I think, like you say, there is a few players that I think are probably approaching their sell by date. I mean, Serge Aurier, if the rumours are true about him throwing his toys out the pram and he's left the club at half time, I'd keep him till the end of the season because we need him. And then for me, if you're leaving your players in the trenches, if they're stuck in the trenches and you're sort of doing a runner, for me, if you're not playing for the badge, you've got to go. So at the end of the season, I'd be like, see you later.
Matt Doherty, I'm just going to call him Matt Doe because he's just Doe now. He's not even Doherty anymore. There's players like Lamela who've been there from the Bell money, 2030. So he's been there 8 years. He needs to do one as well now. I like Lamela because of his attitude, but
he runs around.
He's never been fit enough, and he cost a lot of money when we bought him, he's never lived up to the expectations that we had. So isn't that time a player's been there? He just seems like he said. What he reminds me of is a player that's going to I'm going to run around. I'm going to really look like I'm busy. Like I got people like that at work who do things and make themselves look really busy. But what are they actually doing? Nothing. What did he actually do? Nothing. What has he actually done in his Spurs career? Not a lot.
Scored a cool Rabona goal.
Thing is,
but you think about it. You told me what he's done.
Well, you're right. He hasn't. What's the point in keeping Lamela when he's only going to be fit for 8 games a season because he's always on the treatment table? Get rid of him.
That was the point I was going to make to you, Mike, about the whole Lucas and Davis thing. My thing is with that is with my bench players, and this is quite a modern, young approach. I would rather see somebody like Sessegnon, who's a young and upcoming player who might not be as good, but is good, but he might not be as good as Lucas. At least if you've got somebody who's 20 years old, at least if they don't come good, you might have a little bit of value to sell on. And if he does come good, you've got a young replacement ready to kind of push in. When you've got players who are pushing 30s, 31s as your bench players, because if you look at our bench, we had not Sissoko, but we had quite a few players who were quite not old, but like Lamela's 29, 30, Lucas is 30. These players aren't young players trying to prove a point to their manager. Do you know what I mean? So I think that's what you kind of need off the bench.
The thing is, though, if you're any good, you're not going to want to sat on the bench. You're not going to be. You're going to want to go and play football elsewhere. And that's what I think Sessegnon probably like, whereby he wants to go out on loan because he wants to play football. He's not going to be happy to be spending his time on that subs bench, which is where I get to the point of like you got to have players that are decent, good players that are happy to be on the bench and impact a game as and when they're
kind of comes from the academy, doesn't it?
And this is what. And this is the thing, like you was about to say with the academy, like let the academy or some of the academy players sit on the bench and get the experience. And if they're good, then they'll shine. And they'll get experience at least. Whereas, I say some of these players we got, Lamela.
There's some good comments coming from us, Lemizra, and I'm going to put this out to you guys. I don't think you should have sold Trippier. Man's killing it up in Spain, top of the league. Please don't say because in Spain you have to beat what's in front of you. That now looks like a really bad bit of business from our perspective. Selling Kieran Trippier, because one thing that Kieran Trippier did have in his locker was the ability to cross the ball. He could put it on a sixpence, as they say. He really could cross the ball. Now, defensively, getting caught out of position. Pace-wise, was he the quickest? Not really.
He's killing it at Atletico. And look at Atletico. They're like us.
Again, he didn't even want to leave Spurs. He was as surprised as us when he got the move to Atletico. Now he must be thinking, good grief.
Well,
Wow.
I mean, he's got a 10-week ban at the moment for betting, match betting. So do you not know that he's banned for 10 weeks? He's banned for 10 weeks at the moment because he bet. I think he told his friends about the fact that he was moving from Atleti to Spurs, so he got a 10-week ban or whatever.
Right, so he's telling them lot.
Yeah,
well, I would. I'd tell them.
Wasn't that Pochettino who got rid of him? I don't think.
I can't remember what was the outcome for that. I actually can't remember what the whole fallout of Trippier leaving. I genuinely can't. But
I don't know what it was.
It does look really bad now, doesn't it? Because
Trippier,
like you said, Matt Doe is just not good, is he? Matt Doe is just not good, and Aurier.
Matt Doe. That's his name for me.
I've got nothing else to say about this game anymore.
We've said this before, though, with Doherty, is the fact that
wrong name, Doe.
You can't become a bad player overnight. I think with him, I do think it's just confidence. Yeah. It's just shot. His confidence is just shot to pieces, and that's why he's not. He's been done somewhere, and he's just been like, keep me hidden. I'm not prepared.
My problem with that is, right, if you can't, I know they can hear the manager now, and the manager's giving you grief, but there's not any fans in the stadium. Imagine there was Spurs fans watching you play tonight. Do you want to be on that pitch? You wouldn't really want to be playing right now because you would be getting absolutely murdered by the fans. And the players should be thankful that there is no fans in the stadium. Obviously, they're going to get it on social media, but in the stadium, it's a free hit for them.
But on the flip side of that, with fans in the stadium, it can also help encourage you to will you on a little bit and give you that extra confidence to be like, actually, you know what, sod it, let's go for it. Let's take the game to them. So it could have, I suppose, two effects as such, a positive and a negative. But I think it could work both ways having the crowd there. I mean, the first half performance, the crowd would have gone absolutely ballistic, but second half, the crowd could have been like getting behind the team, encouraging them to push forward and try and obtain an equaliser. But
potentially, but my point is, if you can't self-motivate, because I'm very big into this self-motivation thing, particularly for footballers. And Roy Keane is another one. He's always saying, I don't need the manager to motivate me to play. I motivate myself. I go out on a pitch and I play because I want to play. My desire is to win every single thing. The mentality, it goes back to the mentality. With these players, I don't think their mentality, for some of them, is at a level to class themselves as winners. And this is why I always keep going back to the point about winners. Unless you've won something, you don't know what that feeling's like. I know we've got...
That sounds so bad. Oh my God,
it's terrible so bad. Because we've got Lloris in there who's a World Cup winner. So he's won something. But with club football is a different matter. Every other player, think of all the players in our squad now. Go through the starting 11 today. Who's won anything?
I think it's just Lloris and Sissoko, isn't it?
So I think someone won a gold medal.
And how Sissoko won it, God knows. But he was in that French squad. But do you see what I'm saying now? So when you go through our 11, you go through the starting 11, you even go through the players that were brought on, none of them won anything. And then we've got a player who's won everything in the game in terms of Gareth Bale at a club level. And he's probably won too much now. You know what I mean? Because
if you remember, I said I think Bale just wanted to get away from a really, really toxic environment, and I think anybody would. If he was being abused by those Madridistas. They were horrible to him. They blamed him for things that he had nothing to do with at Real Madrid, just because he was sat on the bench and not being played, and he was taking up 650k a week. So if you tell somebody, you know what, mate, we'll bring you back to your home club. Everyone will love you. You don't have to do anything for everyone to love you. He's going to do that. He doesn't care if he plays because he's out of an environment which is against him. He's in an environment where everybody loves him. I would do that. Even if I wasn't going to play, I would go back to my home club and just sit and just enjoy the vibe. So I just think that we've expected too much. I think we expected too much. And I realized after, I can't remember what game it was, but I was just like, look, Bale, mate, I feel for you. Enjoy it, mate. Enjoy it, because I don't blame you.
The thing is, though, I honestly think the opposite. I honestly think Bale, any footballer, just wants to play football. I mean, Bale's a multi-millionaire, so like you say, I mean, money's not really an objective for him because he's earned what he needs to probably to have a comfortable life for the rest of his life as such.
Kids and grandkids as well.
Well, probably true to be fair. But I honestly think I just can't see Bale just be like happy to be sat on a bench at Tottenham, where I think he probably looks at the team and is like, I know I'm better than these players. Some of these players can't even tie my boots. They can't tie my shoelaces up whatsoever.
And I agree with that entirely. So I'll let you finish on that.
I was just going to say, I think he just thinks that what more can he do other than be given a fair crack at the whip? Yeah. How is he going to prove himself to anyone when it's just so inconsistent? If it was me, if I was Mourinho, I'd be like, look, we're paying you a hefty sum of money here each week. I'm going to give you a run of games, a handful of games, say. If you don't perform, if you don't cut the mustard, then that's it. I'm sending you back to Madrid. It's up to you.
Okay. So what I will add to that is, and I agree with a lot of what you said, Bale has always been a player that has suffered injuries anyway, even his younger part of his career. He's now probably doesn't trust his body as much. So for him to be really extending himself, he'd have to have a reason to do it. Now, the reason I'd want to say to myself, if I hadn't won anything in the game, I want to extend myself is because I want to win something, or I want to move on to get a contract somewhere else. Both those things he doesn't need to do. He's got a big fat contract for the next couple of years anyway. He's won everything in the game at a club level, and he can come on and play 20, 30 minutes, enjoy the football for 30 minutes. Well, I'll come off now. No problem. See you later. Thanks for that game, Jose. You kept me on 30 minutes. I didn't get myself injured, and I can then pick up my check next week for 650K. And guess what, guys? At the end of my career, I've got 4 of these big-eared trophies. You've got none. Do you know what I'm saying? When you put all those things together, there's no reason for him to make the real effort that we want as fans. He might say he loves the club, but he doesn't love us that much. He doesn't love us that much.
Would it be different if the fans are in the stadium?
Yes, I agree with that.
I think he would. I honestly think he would want to show the fans and perform just because he knows he's an idol to Tottenham fans. So I think, again, that those fans in the stadium might push him to actually try hard and show the willingness to perform and try and get the results that Spurs that we need.
So a comment here from Raheem again. Bale is doing only what he contractually obliged to do. Another comment here. Remember, he was prepared to go to China.
That's a very good point to make. He was on the plane. Yeah, it was ready. Like deal fell through. That was the only reason it stopped him when I think it was not 2020 summer window, 2019 summer window.
Oh, right.
Deal fell through. Okay. And he was ready to go to China, but he didn't. He stayed for another year at Madrid, had a horrible time.
I thought it was this season. I didn't realize last season. Okay.
It was last season, yeah.
Mr. Silver Fox, thing with Bale, he's been away from the PL for, 7 years? That's a long time to be away. I can't say I'm surprised that we haven't seen the same Bale. Multiple past injuries are factor also. And these are the things I'm trying to say. He's had multiple injuries. He's had injuries when he was younger. He's won everything now at Real Madrid. He's getting paid a lot of money. He's comfortable. He's got enough money for his great grandkids. And do you know what I'm saying? Is what does he need to prove to us? He's already proved it when he was here.
In a good environment.
As you said, I think the more and more I look at this, the more and more I feel that he.
Why would you stay somewhere that you're in? Why would you stay in a toxic environment unless you like it? Like, we gave him an opportunity to come back. Blame ourselves. If you want to blame anyone, blame ourselves for paying him 300K. Like, I don't have a problem with Bale being at the club. I just don't want us to sign him next year. If we sign him again next year for the whole point of, we didn't get to see the fans, let's sign him again so the fans can see. No, man. Like, we've seen now that Bale's he's not going to cut it. It was a nice feeling to have him, but we've got to think like a club. Like we said about the Kane thing. Kane isn't Spurs. He's a massive part of Spurs, but he isn't Spurs. Bale isn't Spurs. Nobody Spurs. We are Spurs. Do you know what I mean? We have to come to our senses and think players aren't bigger than the club, and we have to kind of realize we can move on from this. We just have to have a plan.
Sorry, Darius. I'm just going to say I want to try and end on a bit more of a positive note.
Yeah.
We've always got to try to. Yeah. We've had a fair bit of to in the throw. We've been on Bale's case. He's not even played today. We've been on Bale's case, and that's we shouldn't really be on his case that much. We've got 4 players out. 4 key players for me, and I'm going to include Dele Alli in that. So Dele Alli, Harry Kane, Lo Celso, Reguilon. Bring them 4 players back into the fold, whether or not all of them start, and I'm saying whether or not Dele Alli starts, but bring him back into the fold. That will make a big difference to us. We need those players back. It's key now that we get them players back. The other thing I will say is every team has gone through a very sticky situation. Now, I'm including the top teams, but what's happening now is our sticky situations come at a time of the season where you really want to be kicking on with results. Yeah. And the games are coming, and we've got Europa coming up again soon, and the FA Cup's coming up. So it's a bad time to be in bad form. That being said, if we don't get those players back sooner rather than later, how do you think we can change this slump that we're in?
I think our players. I think you got it on the head. I think it's going to be tough. We've seen what happens when we lose all our good players last season. It was tough. Me personally, I don't care. I want to just kind of look at the games that really matter. So when we get to that final, when we get into the bigger game, like I said, the City game, I'll be excited for. The West Brom game, I expect wins in those games. But you're 100% right in what you're saying. When those players come back, I think we'll see a significant change in our performances. And I think that's what we need to. I think we just need to. I think it's reactionary. 3 losses is bad, but I think we are. I will admit myself, I'm being a bit reactionary. I would like to see how we do perform with a full 11 again. Yeah, you're right about that.
Mike?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, those 4 players are massive for us, especially they're 4 attackers. I mean, 4 of your best attackers out. I think that's going to damage any team, isn't it, in terms of what they create going forward. So, I mean, even to have 2 or 3 of them back is going to be a massive bonus to us. So, yeah, I kind of just echo with and agree with what Darius' comments are. I honestly think once they come back, we'll start seeing results get turned around and hopefully for us to push on.
That being said, we have to win on the weekend against West Brom.
Let's wait to the preview for that.
No. We have no. I'm not even waiting for that preview. We have to win.
We've got to pack the midfield out because that's what's happening to us. We're getting beaten by teams that are packing that midfield out and smothering us. Mourinho,
we're going to face probably. Aren't we?
I'd go 4-5-1. I would just pack that midfield out and match the opposition for players in the midfield because we should, in theory, be better than the opposition.
Comment? Can you see that comment?
I smiled earlier on when I saw that. I thought that was quite a good comment, to be fair.
I'll read it out. Obviously, I'm enjoying your form. Only 2 points between us. St. Tottering's Day could be on the comeback. Come on, you Gooners. Well, you've been in the wilderness for a long time. You've been in the wilderness this season as well. And now you're getting to poke. It's like them, come out of hibernation, them kind of like bears come out and they start poking their head out. Ooh, what's happening here?
It's funny because he was an Arteta out person, and yet he turned around and now he's like Arteta in. Rah!
Yeah, they're all like it. But it's what it is. It's part of the banner. So we appreciate Mr. Silverfox. I appreciate that banter because I'd be exactly the same as you. This was you lot, and I was like that when
they had their keeper smacking the ball out the box 2 days ago, didn't they? So
and you had David Luiz doing his impression again of a footballer, but. You know what I mean?
Let's save that one.
Let us save this one. Let's call it a night. We've been on for an hour. This is what I'm saying about this thing. When we've lost and we're on here for an hour, it must be like we just got too much to say about the team, and it's draining. I thank
the 8 people. I thank the 8 people that stayed on for an hour, though. To be fair, none of them are probably Spurs fans, but
imagine us talking politics. God.
Right then, let's do these outros. Thank you very much all for watching. Please like, subscribe, share, comment. FTB Sports, the road to 500. We are looking to make sure that we get as many viewers and subscribers as possible. We want you to hit that like, subscribe, share, button. And make sure you do that. Make sure you comment for this after the live shows as well. Leave your comments below for us and we can see what we can do to improve. As we said, we are looking to get those numbers up. So we're doing everything we can.
I was gonna say, can you see that?
Do you want to cash out?
look.
Let me see what else is coming up here.
This is the last one.
Oh, yeah, I'm telling you, I ain't cashing out yet. You know why? because I don't think them lot are going to beat Villa at the weekend. So it would keep our heads above water. And I think we'll beat West Brom. I think we'll beat West Brom. And I think Villa will do a number because Villa are better than Arsenal. They've got better players, I think. So that being said, let me go back to what I was saying before that comment come back up. Thank you all for watching. This has been the Tottenham Hotspur post-reaction show for the game, Spurs versus Chelsea. Spurs 0, Chelsea 1. Guys, as per usual, thank you very much. And we'll see you again soon. Bye.